Alrighty, folks. Simon here, back at it again. The 2021 TAC Open Tournament match, except this time this is the Blitz playoff for 4th place between ManaT and PlutoTheBrave. No Hat Coder is also tied for 4th place, and so they will be playing a double round robin of Blitz games. That's 3 minutes with 5-second increment on the clock. And first up is going to be ManaT and Pluto. They will play 2 games. And then we'll see, I think, Pluto and No Hat, and then ManaT and No Hat. And then they will all play against each other in this round robin to see who comes out on top. If there is no one winner, then we just do that again. Rinse and repeat. And in the commentary box with me, I do have the winner of the 2021 TAC Open Tournament and reigning TAC champion, fwwwwwibib, or Fwib.
Hi, Simon. Glad to be here. I'm looking forward to these games. Should be a lot of fun. Blitz is always kind of chaotic, but yeah, these are 2 excellent players who've both had really good tournaments, so there should be some high quality TAC on display.
Yeah, I am looking forward to struggling to keep up with what they're doing, as is the case with all Blitz matches. All right, we do see the first move has been played, adjacent corners, and center control. Not going for your Knight's opening here.
Yeah, interesting. I think the Knight's opening / edge crawl has sort of definitely come into vogue this tournament, and we've seen as the tournament's gone on, less of this kind of central mirrored opening.
Yeah, and we're also seeing this interesting play here from PlutoTheBrave going at e2 instead of, playing for that momentum. And then finally, when he does go for that momentum play, Black is able to drop that capstone there at e3.
Yeah, I'm generally not a huge fan of that sort of diagonal opening, just because it does provide a really obvious advantageous spot for the opponent to play a capstone.
Absolutely.
But it does sort of set up a position where you can sort of link your pieces potentially more effectively.
Yeah, and Black is just really trying to push that that positioning, I guess. And I find it interesting that White isn't going for any sort of momentum plays right now. I mean, White has had momentum for a long time, but hasn't been using it. Has just been kind of building for that position in the bottom right and in the center. And I don't know how strong that actually is here.
Yeah, I think Pluto clearly deciding to focus more on trying to develop a strong sort of central presence rather than go straight for some kind of obvious threat. But yeah, that's an interesting decision from ManaT there not to bring the capstone over onto d3 and allow Pluto to take c3 there. And now I think this Pluto's pretty well cut off now. ManaT's momentum there, and it's in a position where Pluto's going to be able to make the first threat here.
Yeah, I think that's a good bet. I am interested though why he's building so much for positioning and not going straight for these threats when we are in a blitz match. And so a lot of times you want to just go as quick and as straightforward as possible and not trying to build up a lot of your positioning here. But we do see Black's capstone come over and threaten to capture up on a c3. I think we're going to see White bring the capstone over onto c3.
Yeah, that's definitely what I would expect there. Yeah, really interesting play from both players really there. I think if I was ManaT, I might have been looking to make this b4 placement first before moving the capstone across, so that the white capstone would have then been pinned and unable to sort of defend that c3 stack.
Oh, for sure.
But as it goes...
Lots of stones underneath that white capstone. Who knows where it's going to be going? The mobility is still there because we do have that friendly white flat in there. But a lot of room for Black to keep playing and to stay in this game.
Yeah, I think one thing that, so as this position has developed, that is potentially going to, and I think Manatee's just seen it there. I was just thinking that looking at that right-hand side of the board, you had sort of four white flat stones and only the black cap in that area. And you've got the white capstone in a position to sort of control any potential black threats going down the left-hand side of the board. So I think Manatee, with that E3 placement, wanting to get some kind of influence on that kind of further over to the right there, and not sort of get completely swamped should Pluto choose to move things over in that direction.
Does make sense. But black does now have the tack threat. White can make a tack threat now, and that's exactly what they do, going with the A4 minus move. Now this is a horizontal tack threat going from A3 all the way down here to F1 or F2. And black needs to make a capture here in order to survive. And not Tinue, but it is a really strong threat.
Yeah, I'd expect to see, particularly, it's what makes it so strong is that sort of citadel position, sort of C2, D2, C3, D3, that kind of square, which means that the black cap is not really in a position to disrupt that very effectively.
I do see a wall getting placed here at B3, however.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm slightly surprised that Pluto went for the capture there with the flat stone onto A3 rather than placing a wall of his own. That would have been my instinct.
Well, could he have? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he could have. Never mind. I was thinking it might have been a threat instead.
And possibly bring the capstone down in position to disrupt that cell and be permanently.
Now, does white want to be playing down at maybe E2, or sorry, E1 or F2, and make that threat and force that wall capture? But
Yeah, the ball would just come over to B1, and then that totally cuts off the threat and also threatens to free the A1 and A2. So I'm not surprised to see her decide. So it is now made. Which I think. Okay, it looks like we're moving. That's interesting. Man,
you are breaking up quite a bit for me, Fwib, so it's probably not going to be coming through onto the stream, unfortunately. But it does look like white was shifting gears for the vertical, but then immediately switched back and made that horizontal threat, forcing that capture from black. Now we're going back to that horizontal. Playing down there at D1 does create that tack threat yet again in a couple ways. And white just decided, all right, fine, I'm going to renew this vertical and go in that way since my horizontal isn't working out for me at the moment. So fun to see these different plans coming through. Black now has recovered those captives, but white is making now a vertical threat, and black missed it completely, and white was able to just make a completely straight vertical road here, going right from F1 to F6. So I understand that. Manatee was down to 10 seconds left on the clock. Pluto was playing basically within that 5-second increment time. So really, really well done playing with the clock there for Pluto. Manatee took a little bit too much time, and we know that that was a weakness of his coming into this game. He did express a lot of concern, saying that he is not used to playing in real-time games at all. Playing as well he did in the tournament is pretty impressive, and then playing Blitz is definitely not his forte. And we all know Pluto did tie for first place with No Hat Coder in one of the Blitz games just this past year. So he definitely knows his way around a Blitz board.
Yeah, Blitz is definitely it's an unforgiving format of the game. And you're not surprised to see, obviously, the player who was able to play more quickly, keep more time on the clock, coming out on top there.
Now let's see if Manatee can come back for a redemption game here against Pluto. This time, ManaT as white and PlutoTheBrave as black. And they're off, and with an opposite corner opening this time, and then ManaT jumping straight into the Knight's opening. Man, it's like people think you know what you're doing or something.
Well, it definitely worked pretty well for me this tournament. I'm not gonna claim much more than that for it, but yeah, I think I had 10 wins or 11 wins out of 11 as white in the tournament round, significantly less successful as black. But yeah, it worked. It's been working well for me, and I'm gonna stick with it for now. And it's good to see at least some other people agreeing with me on that.
Yeah, it looks like white is building for that vertical threat, but then black's capstone placement is actually pretty perfect, able to come down onto d4 and cut off both the vertical and the horizontal lines that white has been building here. So black's capstone placement, I'd say, is very strong.
Yeah, definitely a good spot to put the capstone for Pluto. I think the only nitpick one might have is that it's not immediately building towards a threat of his own, but it does have the potential to form part of a horizontal road. For example, if he brings e4 up now, it's now looking like a much stronger connection to the rest of what he's got going on.
I definitely say so. Maybe a wall here on e3 would do some good for ManaT. He'd be able to come up, liberate that captive, and also stop black's attack threat from coming to fruition. And it's exactly what he does. Black won't be able to smash that wall if it does make it up onto e4, because it would result in a road for white. So black's going to have to think of something to do with this this stack in order to keep it out of white's hands.
I think what we might see here, or I'd be thinking about as Pluto, is to play something like b5. Okay, interestingly goes for the preemptive capture onto that stack. I would have been tempted to just let ManaT take the stack and then put a wall of my own down on e2, for example, e3 rather, and just try and move things over, gain some momentum on A and B.
That does make sense.
Different one.
All right, interesting wall smash here. I'm not really sure why that smash came into play, but I am interested to know what his plan is for it now. He may be just switching gears for the horizontal.
Yeah, the advantage that the smash does have is that it somewhat isolates the black capstone, prevents it from spreading into the center. Pluto does still have a +3 flat count move by spreading upwards.
Yeah, but it's blitz. Does blitz ever really come to flats?
Yeah, it's definitely less common that that's going to be a consideration.
All right, we do see white cut off that attack threat that black had been building towards. Now, will black just renew by placing down at c1 or fortify the position? Oh, we can't place at c1 because it's a road threat, of course, yeah. So the wall comes out, and that's to capture onto that b4 stack, liberate that captive, and renew that attack threat. Strong position, I'd say, right now for black. All right, so now we've got white moving upwards. Now this is, again, renewing that horizontal threat, and black drops yet another wall, not content to let that stack go free.
So, interestingly, the flat count is currently 9 for white and 7 for black, so they're even when you include the Comey. But I think looking at this position, the number of liabilities that ManaT has, it's black definitely has the advantage in the flat game when you actually count future potential.
For sure.
And ManaT, I think, recognizing that self-capturing with the flatstone stack, which is something you very rarely see, but it does allow him to move that those captives away from the wall on a5.
And also again, continuing strong position. Like it was a good move, I'd say, to self-capture there.
Yeah, because it gave the opportunity to, for example, throw that stack down onto c3. But we can see ManaT sort of prioritizing not wanting to give those captives away
Yeah.
to black.
I mean, we might see a 4c4 minus 1/3 here, but I don't think we will. Okay, this is not a
Yeah.
tack threat here from white, but he's setting up for one.
The black capstone is in a good position to disrupt that threat when ManaT makes it, as he
And
does
here's
now.
the threat. Threat by capturing onto d3 or by placing over at c4. It also cuts off black's vertical tack threat at the same time. But again, black can stop this by spreading the capstone stack. But if he does spread the capstone stack, white is going to be able to come up with their own capstone and capture onto the leftover flats left behind. So instead they go for the d3 minus move. This does cut off the vertical threat of white right away, but white's able to make that recapture, force c2 to the right, and I like that move. That's a lot better than the move that I had in mind. So well played there. Now here I think as white, you just want to play at c4. And trust in your capstone to be able to smash the wall when it gets to d2, but that's not what he went for.
Goes for the smash first. Interesting. This does. Okay, wow. That spread is going to allow the white capstone to come up onto d5.
And I imagine that's exactly what
pin
he
you
wants to
away.
do.
It's close, but unfortunately, he has to leave d3 open for a black wall.
Mm-hmm. I don't think leaving a wall there or an open spot for a wall there is the end of the world here. I still think white is going to want to capture there onto d5.
Yeah, I mean the only other consideration might be looking at as white is doing something sort of weird, like bringing just the capstone onto d2 and making a hard cap there. But yeah, I think that that stack on d5 is just too juicy to not take.
Oh, I'm with you on that. And while this is not a tack threat, it is a pretty solid position here for white. And I don't know, black's been making some blunders, I'd say, in this game, giving away a lot of opportunity for white to come back.
Yeah, it was looking pretty good for Pluto, maybe 5-10 moves ago, and it has definitely spiraled fairly quickly out of control for him.
I like that move there. Getting the hard capstone, recovering that stack, keeping it out of the hands of black. I'd say that was a good play.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense, and I think also makes sense now for Pluto to try and just regain the momentum. His capstone is definitely shutting off some of ManaT's, or most of ManaT's, threat potential, at least for the next move or two. And the way that he's going to win this is by basically pressuring ManaT for time, I think.
Oh, that's surprising. I didn't expect that. I would have expected the D2 stack to move long before the capstone stack did.
Yeah, that feels risky from ManaT's point of view, leaving that stack on D2
I feel like
open
that
for
capstone's got to grab it now.
Man, Blitz is... You get some wild board positions you just do not see in kind of more traditional 6x6 play.
Ooh, okay, so he did have the double there. I didn't notice that there were two black flats there. That's a really strong position.
Yeah.
And
I feel like this isn't...
Yeah, white needs a wall there.
Yeah, that was definitely the only move for white. There's another position where it feels definitely close to attenuate, but not quite there. Because now you get the spread up here, but capturing onto D2 for white with the wall should
Yeah, that should stop
mostly
it.
shut that off.
I'm actually surprised the capstone didn't come down to capture onto that.
I think the issue with coming down with the capstone was going to be the white capstone coming across.
Yeah.
Perhaps as we see now instead. But this does allow... Okay, and the capstone hops
Just-
across again.
What is going on here? Now we get the wall to come down yet again.
Both players down to around 30 seconds left on the clock.
Okay, and yet another tack threat from black. White comes over with the wall to cut that off.
Yeah, and black starting to get low on reserves. There's still, I think, 8 reserves left there, so it's not like black can flat out immediately. And probably won't be able to do it in time before these walls can start to, take those white captives on D1 and D2 and spread them out and get back into the flat game.
Yeah, this is a tack threat, and white was wise enough to spot that capstone spreading down, smashing onto D2. And black's just saying, all right, I'm going to keep building these. You keep giving me opportunities to do it. I'm going to keep building.
Yeah. Oh, and now the smash looks really promising for...
Yeah, he's got to go
black.
for the smash, but he doesn't. He goes for more
Decides not
placements.
to.
He may be trying to win on flats in this game, in a blitz. And when he's also just trying to pressure ManaT for time. ManaT's down to 10 seconds on the clock. Another tack threat. And another tack threat stopped.
So flat count is 8 to white and 11 to black. So I think this is going to be Pluto's game on flats.
Yeah.
I don't see a way for ManaT to claw enough of that back or make threats to prevent Pluto from just flatting out here.
Yeah, I don't see anything about it either. And this is a wall, this is a tack threat, and then stopped, and then
There we go.
flatted out, and black takes it. So that means PlutoTheBrave won both games, and that puts him in a pretty solid position here. If he splits his game against NoHat, and NoHat splits his game against ManaT, that means Pluto is the overall winner here. So really, really strong start for Pluto. A rough break for ManaT. Definitely not his wheelhouse to be playing in these blitz games, and Pluto has a lot more practice with them. So congratulations to Pluto and rough break ManaT, but good luck. You do still have another chance to play up against NoHat Coder. Again, NoHat and Pluto did tie for first in a blitz tournament earlier this year or past year. So good luck for those. But anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks fwwwwwibib for joining me in this little commentary. And be sure to check out the description below for all things TAC, especially the TAC Discord server, which is the community hub and where you can find all sorts of resources, and you can find all sorts of people to play with on playtac.com or right there in the Discord itself, playing asynchronously. You can play just one move a day if you want to, and you can play against folks just like fwwwwwibib or ManaT or PlutoTheBrave. They've all been known to play some asynchronous games. In fact, I think fwwwwwibib is even in one right now, so there you go. Anyway, that is all. Thanks for watching, and until next time, have a great day and happy tacking.